I did read this one myself, this complaint, and it was a stunner. It was absolutely horrifying, although also confusing. If I remember correctly, Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it this complaint that alleged that Combs like suddenly touched in some way this guy's anus, like it was a surprise? I'm sorry to get graphic, but I remember reading like, how does that happen just out of the blue?
Sure.
And the whole complaint reads like this. He says he was a videographer for Combs and a producer, and he's got a lot of this stuff on tape. But give us a feel for the Rodney Jones lawsuit also being handled by Tyrone.
Okay, so he is alleging a number of things. He is saying that, yes, he was sexually harassed and assaulted by Combs, that he was groped, fondled, that he was forced to watch Diddy naked, taking showers, that he was forced to recruit sex workers to perform sex acts with them for the pleasure of Diddy, that he was drugged at one point, found himself in bed with sex workers. So you already see flavors of sex trafficking, sexual abuse, and sexual harassment. He also says he witnessed acts of violence. He said that he was Diddy involved in a shooting at a recording studio, that Diddy admitted to his involvement, as we mentioned before, the 1999 nightclub shooting, that he's seen drug abuse, that he's seen illegal weapons possession. He is alleging everything. And big theme from that too is he is alleging that Diddy groomed him for homosexual sex. The reason I bring that up, Megyn, is because there's been a lot of rumors and speculation about Diddy because of things like that. And one of the things that he says is Diddy showed him a video of a prominent person in the music industry having homosexual sex. He mentioned how he was a victim of Cuba Gooding Jr., that Cuba Gooding Jr. one night was on a yacht and Diddy left them alone, and Cuba Gooding Jr. fondled him and made him uncomfortable, and that he's now suing Cuba Gooding Jr. for that. And yes, Rodney Jones, it's a big lawsuit, but not only has Diddy's counsel come out and completely denied it, but several of the high-profile people who are named in that lawsuit, not as defendants, by the way, but just named, they're accused of being these sex workers that they were paid by Diddy to perform sex acts. They said this is complete lies. These are well-known artists like Young Miami. And so the fact that you have people who are not even named as defendants, but just mentioned in the lawsuit saying this is not true, again, kind of gives you a little bit of pause to think about what's going on. And Cuba Gooding Jr. came out. I thought this was fascinating because Cuba Gooding Jr. has been quiet since all this happened. And he sits down for a podcast interview with Patrick Bet-David.
We have this, actually. Let me play it, and then you take it on the back end. Take a listen to Stop 21.
What do you think is going on with all the stuff with Diddy, with Little Rod, with, all the stories that everybody's hearing about?
You mean in terms of what?
I mean, being raiding his house being raided.
I mean, that's crazy. That's the craziest thing I'd ever. And then, hey, how about me? I wake up in the morning, I turn on the station showing Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. I was like, excuse me, pull me into this. I can't imagine that he's stupid enough to do whatever he's doing and keep it on his premises. I think that the raid and all of that stuff, only time will tell who was involved, who had been a frequent guest in these places and areas. It's funny because my lawyers said, every outlet in the world wants to talk to you. And again, I'm like, I'm not defining myself from some headline in the press. So I stayed quiet.
Go ahead, Jesse.
I think we tried to get him on Sidebar, by the way. So we were one of those outlets. But no, look, I thought that was really interesting because he's not outright denying everything about Diddy. He's not saying, the guy's completely innocent. But what was really interesting in the interview, he says, I really don't know Diddy. He's an acquaintance, met him 2 or 3 times. I can't speak anything more about that. In regards to me, and this was fascinating in that interview, he goes, that night, I was jumping from yacht to yacht. It was New Year's Eve. I ended up on Diddy's yacht. This guy's listening to music. We're listening to it. And there's a picture, by the way, in that lawsuit with Cuba Gooding Jr. next to Little Rod Jones. He's got his arm around him, looking very close next to him. And he goes, that photo that Jones put in his lawsuit, let me show you something else. And he shows Patrick Bet-David another photo. We don't see what it is, but it's apparently a live photo. He goes, look, this is a different angle. He goes, so they decided to put this one photo in to make it look like something. There's another side of the story, said that this is a money grab. So he came out on the defensive against what he's accused of, but not so much against all the allegations for Diddy. And he definitely tried to distance himself away from him.
I'll bet. This guy, Little Rod, he's also alleging that Diddy would lace liquor bottles that he had in his house, specific bottles of alcohol designed for females, would lace them with ecstasy. And that ties in, I mean, potentially with some of these early accusations earlier that the women had been drugged, again, all of which are denied.
And Megyn, let me just jump in. I think if you take his allegations as true, he is a star witness for the prosecution in this back to the raids.
Oh, yeah.
I have to imagine they are speaking to him because he was the one who said Diddy's got videotapes, cameras in all of his houses that records a lot of this illicit activity. We've wondered, was one of the things that they obtained from the raids on his LA and Miami homes, videotapes, camera systems, based on what Little Rod said. I have to imagine he has at least spoken with the government or might be a cooperating witness.
I know. Although it's been a while since the raid. Do you think he's going to be arrested?
There's a strong chance. I say that not only as a lawyer, not as somebody who's only covered the cases, not only seeing comparisons to other cases, but I've spoken to former federal prosecutors, spoke to the former federal prosecutor, put R. Kelly away and said it is a matter of time, in the sense that, look, there could be absolutely nothing. Let me make that clear. Absolutely nothing, right? They could look at this and say these allegations were just allegations. We have nothing to corroborate. There's nothing here. But could there be, and one of the things they're looking at, illegal firearms possessions, was Diddy's fingerprints on any of those weapons? Are there videos of him? Was there illegal substances found? Do the videos show, or anything from that house show, sex trafficking or sex crimes of any sort? We just don't know. But having said that, what I keep being told is the feds don't come in like that. And with the level of force, yes, they're dealing with massive properties. They don't know who's in there. There's been allegations of firearms and violence. They didn't know what they were going into. But the feds don't go in and do this unless they have something, and they're going to find something. So we don't know. We shall see. But it's definitely possible that Diddy and perhaps his sons or associates could ultimately be charged. We just don't know, but it's possible.
There's at least one lawsuit against one of the sons with disturbing allegations. But before I let you go, Bieber and Usher were both two up-and-coming stars who were taken under the wing by Diddy. There's some weird tape of both of them talking about some experiences with Diddy. Usher was like, it was crazy. It was, bizarre land inside of Diddy's home. And Bieber was like 15 years old with Diddy. We've got the Bieber. Let's watch that. That's SOT 22.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
Oh God! And when he had Usher was only 13. So what are we to make of those two people and their relationship to Diddy?
Look, if you look at that video without knowing anything else, you'd say not make much of it, maybe a weird video, a little strange, but we look at it with a different lens because of everything, all of these allegations. And Usher is indirectly named in this lawsuit as somebody that Combs admitted to Little Rod Jones that he had a relationship with. And when we talk about these allegations of grooming, homosexual sex, obviously we're looking at videos and going through past videos of Diddy with a different eye. Will this video be relevant? Will it be relevant in an actual criminal case against Diddy? Probably not. Will Justin Bieber be questioned by the feds about his relationship or contact with Diddy? It's hard to say, and probably not. But it's just, we look at things like that. When anybody is accused of something or anybody is charged with something, we go back, we look at the past, we look at the videos, and we try to see if we can find clues of something that was going on. But we don't know what that was really about.
Being in debt is like sinking in quicksand. You're trapped. You feel helpless. And the harder you struggle, the deeper in debt you can get. Been there. If you are trapped in debt, let me throw you a lifeline. Done with Debt. Done with Debt has created a new strategy with one goal in mind: to get you out of debt quickly and permanently. Done with Debt stands between you and your bill collectors. Then they negotiate a plan to end your debt permanently without bankruptcy and without loans. They can get you out of debt quickly, and they can put more cash in your pocket monthly. But you do need to contact Done with Debt soon because some debt solutions expire. It's super easy to get started. Just go to donewithdebt.com and get a free consultation. What do you have to lose? Talk with one of their experts about a strategy that will end your debt faster and easier than you thought possible. Visit donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.